This is day 228 of Arukh HaShulchan OC. If you'd like to sponsor upcoming share or more of Arukh HaShulchan OC, be greatly appreciated. Please contact me directly. Today we're doing Siman Kuf Samech still, Yud Gimel to Yud Tes. Gimel. Chamei Ur, water which is heated up by fire. And another member the dime you can use them to wash your hands. I forgot the mayim chachronim lo chazi, and then you can't use them for mayim achronim, as we shall see. She's part of besim kupe aleph. Zel mitam da achar achila edam leim zuma. This is because after eating, your hands are full of pollution. Literally, they're dirty. And hot water causes that to embed itself more deeply into the skin as opposed to removing it. But they're allowed to be used for the meal. Even if the hand draws back from them because they're so hot, some say that that's too hot and you can't use the yatso lettuce but water. So there's a lot of Mishnah Berurah on this safe here. Mishnah Berurah says that according to say that if you don't have other water, you can use yatso lettuce but water by lukewarm water. It's not a problem whatsoever. And even if they were hot to begin with and they cooled down and became lukewarm, it's also okay. According to this, even if you have no other water except for hot water that which yatso lettuce, which is hot enough that your hand jumps back, then you should wait a little bit until they get a little bit cooler, so it won't be yatso lettuce, but then it won't be a problem according to anybody. A practical advice. Back to Arukh HaShulchan, there are two approaches in the Gemara. That's all by water which is heated up by fire. But water which is heated up comes from hot springs, like the waters of the Tveria. It's hot water which comes down from a mountain. You can't use them to wash hands. This is because they are sulfurous. They're bitter. And can be consumed by a dog. But if you find fresh water, novim, which is bubbling up from a spring, which is a hot spring, which is suitable for a dog to drink, you can use it to wash until sedayim. The Gemara says that if a cow would drink from them, it's okay. It sounds like a cow is okay. Even if a dog wouldn't drink them, as long as a cow would, that is good. As long as a cow will drink them, they are possible to sedayim. No, he says the other way around, Mishabur. He says that it's a higher level. Dogs will drink what cows will not. So therefore, he says that it has to be suitable for a cow to drink, not just for a dog to drink. He leans as a Tarchiyun. I don't know how you distinguish between the two, but Arukh HaShulchan is makel. Therefore, you can't use the salt water of the sea to wash. They're not suitable for a dog to drink. Because of those who ever wrote the when you boil the salt water, you can use. They are suitable for a dog to drink, and you can't use them to wash your hands. When it says as long as the person can drink them, even in a difficult situation, that they have to, as long as they're suitable for an animal, that's sufficient. Not sure why it's phrasing that way, but in the TS9, that's a make a low hipsit. They do rely on those who need it, and therefore, presumably, boiled salt water would be included in that. Then you do not lose your doubt. Therefore, although you can't use them until sedayim, hot salt for water to dip your hands in. Therefore, he saw that if you has gufo and for tabling your body, they're not possible. Certainly suitable for tabling your hands. But take them in a vessel low because they're not suitable to drink. For Rashi explains Rabbanan did not make the Tagam to the with hot water. And and these are worse than the water which is heated up on a stove or such like. So they're never suitable because they came out of the ground on non-potable. Please, according to this, I feel my matukim. According to this, even if they are sweet water. Oh, well, no, not because it came around non-potable. At least not what those shows in Frank from Rashi. It says it came to the ground hot, and Rabbanan just didn't allow hot for whatever reason, not because of sulfurous fumes. So, peace, I feel my matukim, according to this, even their sweet water, since they came to the ground hot, and they were never kosher from the get-go, ultimately told me until I can't use them for washing. Not like we wrote in the previous sif. Rambam, Rashi, because by the time all the other shem right has to do with suitability to drink. And that was required 40 off in Filos Yadayim. That's Zeuk Shen Amayim Mekom. That's where the spring water is not in its place in the spring. The Mekom of it's in the spring ain't Tzorcha Bayim. So you don't need 40 saw. The Mayim Metar because the spring works no matter how small. Saw that you require 40 saw. And Shichosam Ba'aretz, it's if you cause them blow along the ground, they're charitz through a furrow, chutzim coming outside their place. Vacharitzu Bakarka, the furrow is in the ground. And interrupted them, the flow from the gushing spring. So in that case, you need 40 saw. The Mishnah Bura says that those who are machmir in terms of chamei or water heat up in a fire, they certainly should be machmir by chamein of a spring, because they never had a shas hakosher. This is what the Arukh HaShulchan brought down. Okay, going on. Babylon Simukuf Nuntes, Usif Lam Haben, the Yeshua got my mikveh and Tzorcha Boim saw. Even though we brought an opinion, even the mikveh for the Tias now don't require up 40 saw. Come, nevertheless, Chametz Tfei, it's very agreed Tfei. Hot springs are worse. The combination Tzorcha Boim saw Africa needs specifically 40 saw. Even if this furrow is connected to the spring, which is bubbling up the hot water, where the water is connected with the water. Rashi hold you can't use them to wash hands. So if they don't have 40 saw, because there's a decree lest you take them in a vessel and use them for netilas yadayim. Rabbeinu Yonah Cholik on the answer Rabbeinu saw. Rabbeinu holds you don't need Armoisa. Came Shukamayim because it's like a spring. But even for the charitz, the furrow or the hole has 40 saw, then come the Rashi Makbilin. Also called Rashi, you do Tvilas Yadayim there. The Sharat Sion says that most people like Rashi. But Makom Shas Al can be Meko. Arukh HaShulchan does not seem to say most of us like Rashi. Tespa. Salt water, or brackish water, or marim, or bitter water, which a dog cannot drink from which a dog cannot drink. They're no good for washing. Even though they're suitable to go to the mikveh in them. They teach these water which is muddy because of mud which got mixed into them. If a dog can drink them, they're good. Whether for washing or for mikveh. He can't wash for eat or drink for them. But the possible for both. After mikveh. Even for mikveh, the possible. Does that go in my mamori that it's worse than bitter water? Which has a chalei shem water. Avamur petit, but that which is mixed in with mud ain't shem mayim aleim. Doesn't have the name of water. So titaniro, because mitztaru to mikveh can't make up a mikveh. Behind you there, sim rishav, which is bar pradze kamadinim. Okay. Tez zayin. Nochlim yadayim b'chol davar shetchosim ramayim. You can wash your hands with anything which came initially from water, which includes taloim adumim, red worms, imriskan, if you chop them off, ad shenasu k'mamayim until they became like liquid. Chen shem and dog, also fish oil. Ksheriska, when you chopped up the fish. Vasheleg, snow, barad, hail, frost, gleed, some other kind of frost. By the mind, shnipu, mikoshko, and eyes, This is, I guess, gleed is more ice than frost. It says if you base the miskon, if you chop them up, actually not so mine, they become water. You can wash your hands with them. The type of them, and you can dunk your hands with them. In yesh kashir, if they have the right amounts, I can show. Masha below it sounds like if you don't chop them up, ain't no lima die by him. You can't wash your hands with them. Without besim chufn test, you see if lam zayin kasabu. But yeah, da barim was sheleg shabarim saw fari mutter. Yet we wrote previously, says Arukh HaShulchan, that you can table your hands in amount of 40 saw of snow. Yes, only not right. Everybody says the sort of thing. Arukh HaShulchan says also says something that way. That is actually tzrich that which required cutting up. Hainu mentila al yadayim. That's when you're using them to wash with a vessel on the hand. Or you're dunking your hands in them. Kshein kana boim saw when there isn't 40 saw. You're there to make sure out. Rishal of course b'shas latchak. Yesh latil b'yadav b'shal boim saw. Oh, I can't show you Sham. And they say only holds that you can use table your hand in snow when you have specifically 40 saw. So for here could be shlobas latchak, and therefore you will not be. You cannot use the snow unless you chopped it up. Yesh Ladina says Lamaisa one can be lenient, even if it's not leaned up to do to be time in the snow, much as having the sham, like he wrote there, so you come to Zain. So the word says that you should know that according to Machmirim, no, that was in the previous. Sorry, that was in the previous sif. Mishnah writes, Avram said that fish which is chopped up is more chomer than snow. Even to table your hands in fish innards, you have to be machmir. You have to be machmir if you did not chop them up. Mishnah Sharatin also wrote that if all these things have a shear of a mikvah, then okay, b'shas atzak when there's no water, even if they were not chopped up. I once heard from a friend of mine, Baruch Kelman, that Baruch Tzvavech once passed for a woman whose head could not go in the water of the mikvah, that where she can make a bathing cap out of fish skins and put that around her head, and wouldn't be a chitzitza because it's davar shebriyasa min hamayim. So that would be similar to the same with davar shebriyasa min hamayim. You could toivel them, and therefore they are to have sake. A chatzitza. Your time. Yesh mishein tiasayim el mayim bilvad. Some say that washing is only with water. V'lo b'shari mashkim, not other beverages. V'lo b'mei peros, nor with fruit juice. Fish also in tiasayim kikin tvila. It made washing hands like going to the mikvah. Shein el mayim bilvad, where you can only use the water. Chen ksiv, and so too it says your hands are not rinsed with water. That's talking about a mikvah, but we can extrapolate from that to actual tiasayim. So that's a rabbit who wrote Baruch. The Gama Rosh really came. The Rav and Rosh both hold us. They declare Guzayin the brachos. Baby Ryan brings evidence. Shari afilu mayim shishtayin miarisa. Even water which is countenance has changed between till sedayim. They're no good for washing. Koshkin shayim mashkim goes without saying other beverages. That's Rashi. Rashi's opinion is nothing adayin main peros shayim mashkim. You can use fruit juices and other beverages. Yesh chalik men elu mayim shishtayin miarisa. As the difference between these and water which has changed in its look. The mind hey, water, it has changed what it once was. But the fruit juices, not different than what they ever were. That's Rashi says the afagav, even though the mitzad and tzilas like shemen, even though in terms of washing their kosher, come elito yadayim b'yayin. Nevertheless, you should not wash your hands specifically with wine. Whether you mix it with water, whether you do not mix it with water, not to make a mockery of something so significant as wine, which has become changed in an upgraded way. Peri from the fruit itself. The point has its own special bracha. Therefore, it's preferential not to do this. The Gamir also seems to yesh bal tashchis. And all to use other beverages, it's going to be bal tashchis because you're wasting them by not using them for drinking, but only for washing. Unless you say that only b'shas adchak you're allowed to use the fruit juice. Um, we should be Allah brings down according to some poskim, it's less use other beverages because of hefsed ochlin, causing loss to food. Mishnah Berurah brings down also ledina to be machmir by wine and to be mako by meiperos shas alchak, exactly like the Arukh HaShulchan. Back to the Arukh HaShulchan itself. If you don't have meiperos fruit juice, but you do have wine, you have no choice but to wash your hands in them. You're stuck. Although Mishnah does not seem to agree with that. You're certainly not to use other alcoholic beverages like beer or made vash or mead from shkoin med, which is cooked, but they're primarily water. We won't say that the countenance of the word has changed. Since they've changed it to an upgrade, so therefore, lay some butts on problem. Some Abraham, it says Abraham's kasha is not a kasha, but it's not for us. It says Yeshmi the rock behind lava mutzalito. You're going to use white wine, and not red wine. For if there's no toslahatir, most opinions are inclined to be lenient. And there's the brackets also, which doesn't, without looking cross-referencing what he's citing, doesn't help us out. Mishnah Berurah says that gra does not hold nishtana liyuluya. So according to him, these the alcoholic beverages, even though they are upgraded since they're changed, you wouldn't be able to use them for washing. And then the Arukh HaShulchan does not hold that, otherwise you would put down the gra. Mishur writes, if wine was white and you made it red by putting in a dye, like people sometimes do with our wines, according to everybody, be possible. Yurches. In those halachas where he wrote the prohibition of degrading foods, he said, you don't wash your hands with wine, whether it is undiluted or diluted. So they don't cause the loss by other food and beverage, which degrades and kicks at the food. This is clearly to wash hands with a beverage is derech bizoyim. Kosh Baruch Hu created these beverages to drink, not to pour them. But even if that's that's a kind of almost an agadic reason not to use them. But me'etzem adin, they're okay to be used for washing. Therefore, you have no water to use them. Because you're not doing them and it's order to degrade the other beverage because you have no choice. You test. Any doubt in the Dios Daim is Tor. Kedin Svek Rabban Lukula, like any Savik Rabban which called Lukula. Chemaim Sheitz Savik Nasim and Malacha in Lav. You have not sure this water was used for Malacha or not. Or Shinota Yadav, or you wash your hands, you stop being Mayakim Bashir, you're not sure if you had a shear, Tan Reviasim Lav. Or you made Tamaim Motor, you're not sure the water was Tamil Tor. Or something not so Yadav Lav, you're not sure if you wash your hands or not. Hochin Laka. It says we're lenient. Nevertheless, there's one who says, even though according to strict letter of law, that should be the case. Nevertheless, if he has water, wash your hands over again without a bracha. So you should not be afflicted with poverty, because the person people don't wash properly. It's lavush. Shard Tzir brings out the Rabbah argues on this. But he also paskins that if there's water which is in front of you from which you can wash, then you should wash it again. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. This is when you have a doubt whether the primary washing was done appropriately. I would like to ikar until but where the primary washing was done appropriately. So you know that and the question is afterwards. You need to imlav whether your hands can tell me again or not. Or should you stop me or you're not sure if you were distracted or not, etc. So required to go back and watch even l'chumra. We assume your chazaka is still established that you were not misiach das and that you didn't touch a makom tinoifes, etc. I'm looking for the Sivka Nikim should tell me about Yam Shalom. That's what that's Poisal and Sham. It doesn't have Skadas absolutely in itself. But Kushasa Tamu, Arukh says the question is astonishing. The Yesh Bezat's most of fake. He's not sure if it's Misiach Das. The Ivadi Sirch Daito, suddenly he got distracted. The Tzorach Yatzko Wash again, Commotion Nichtov, but Simon Kuf Samagdalit, Ayin Sham Beduk. He's going to explain this matter. That's your test. Yes.